29th, 2001. And today we have myself, Dylan.
What up, it's Zay.
Quinn.
Nick.
And then we also have joining us, Rhett, today. So it's going to be a nice little twist.
Yeah, let's get to know Rhett. First time here, I believe.
Yeah, it's definitely my first time in the garden of your minds.
Welcome, my guy.
You gotta make it so sexual, Rhett.
I'm stoned as shit time traveling, let's get it. Originally, I really developed inside my dad's testicles. Found me in a meth lab a year later. Nah, man, from New Orleans.
New Orleans has some
Louisiana.
clean meth labs to other states, so you didn't have it the hardest.
I mean, so there's New Orleans, and then there's white trash towns on the outskirts of New Orleans, and well, I grew up in that little white trash outskirty New Orleans town. There's not really too much trash, but the area I grew up in, yeah.
Is there trouble, crime, and such?
Nah, dude, I had a white picket childhood. I don't remember much of it though.
Later years, maybe middle school, high school. Were you always there? Did you move around?
All right, so middle school, we actually moved, and it was a real big move for me, man. I was not really familiar with the street we were moving to. My bus had drove down it a couple of times, but I didn't know the house I was moving into. I was so scared. Nah, man, moved 3 streets away. Then high school came, kind of couch surfed for a little while to a couple buddies.
You left home.
Yeah, I'm not really a homebody.
Free time, you and your friends.
Before we found drugs, we were normal kids, man. Played basketball in the street, played football in a little field, fist fight in the backyards, eat popsicles.
What else do they have in that town?
About 12 years old, we found tobacco and nicotine and stuff.
Was there like any fun places to go, youth places, anything interesting in the town?
Interesting in the town, man. The most interesting thing in the town would probably be Crazy Joe. He rides his lawnmower to the gas station every morning. Other than that, I mean, like it's a real small fisherman's town, brother. It's a lot of movies back there.
Some real suburban scenery.
Farm suburban.
Boring.
I don't really know how to
Boring
describe that.
Boring town.
Yeah, dude, like I had to drive 25 minutes just to get to a Walmart.
You're kind of stuck where you are. It's somewhat of a commitment to just do that to get to Walmart. So to kind of make sense,
Pretty much.
pick up drugs or whatever, amusement, something to do.
Yeah, I mean, especially when the dude, works in the motor pool. It's a real easy shopping experience.
So after that, what'd you go on to do?
So senior year, I got hit by a car. Ended up in the hospital for a good bit.
What happened?
I just had an egg in my tire. So I took it to the shop to get a new tire. I had Army drill weekend that weekend. And so at the time, the chick I was dating, so happened to be my fiance, lived right across the highway. And so I was, I had a 2-hour wait in my car, ran across the highway, got to the shoulder of the road, and some dude's texting and driving, bam, smashes my ass at 60 plus miles an hour. Got out his car.
Video.
Yeah, I do have a dash cam video. Some dude caught it on dash cam. It was pretty cool, actually. Dude gets out the car, says, "Hey, man, you all right?" I was like, "Nah, dude, you just fucking hit me. I need you to call 911, my man." So he starts calling 911, and if you ever get to see the video, it's actually kind of funny. I flail around like a fish on land. And they get me in the ambulance, cut off all my clothes, started doing, their shindigs. Actually find out they had to airlift me because I was in such a traumatic state. I had no idea what anything was, who anybody was. I didn't know who the fuck I was. I do remember getting in the helicopter though. It was really cool. They took me up. They took me over the city of New Orleans at nighttime, and it was actually January 5th, 2018. The accident happened at 5:55 p.m. You know, right when it's in that. Is it dusky? Is that nighttime dusky?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
dusk. It's almost night.
Yeah, it's like a real like an amber lit sky. There's a plant that like a actual plant. I don't know if you know what plants are, um, like a chemical plant,
I was about to say, bro, they grow everywhere.
like a chemical plant. I got to be
Hey.
specific, but I'll fast forward a little bit. So I get to the hospital. They start, checking me out, and the guy goes, "Hey, dude, you know what happened?" I was like, "Nah, man. I just need to know who wins the Super Bowl." And for an hour and a half, all I kept saying is, "Who's going to win the fucking Super Bowl?" So they took me into a protocol. They did some imaging on my mind, my back. Came out, I've got a dislocated, it's like a slip disc in my back, if that makes sense. If anybody knows specific medical terms, got a slip disc. But other than that, I've got a lot of head trauma, a lot of head injuries, short-term memory loss. They introduced me to my best friend for the next 2 years when I went to the hospital. And her name is Oxy.
Oh my god.
And then that just discovered a rabbit hole, man. Everybody says, weed was the gateway drug at that time. I had been smoking weed since I was 14, 15. So it wasn't too bad, Start pumping the morphine, the oxy, and all the other shit, the pills they give you these pills for antidepressants and depression. Oh, this is supposed to help you, man. Number one side effect, suicidal depression. Oh, yeah, that's what we need to give somebody who's already got that. All they did is amplify it. They took me off of that real quick. They actually treated me because they thought I was having seizures. And it's actually still an ongoing sleep process study through my doctors. We're trying to figure out what's going on. I'm still doing sleep study procedures. I do some weird shaking shit in my sleep. And I different time, different podcast, different chat. I'll dive into that with y'all another time of day. I take up the whole night with that. Yeah, that's basically kind of how my high school went. I've still got the same wheelchair from the hospital. I actually, fun story about this wheelchair. 6 months later, I was able to walk again. Actually, right for grad, it was 5 months. My bad. Graduation was May. I think it was like May 18th or some shit like that, or it might have been like May 20th. I don't know. Anywho, it was my first time really walking for the first time in 5 months. It was real cool. Walked about 150 feet, got on the stage, shook some dude's hand, don't even know his name, waved to the crowd, went back to my seat, fell asleep. Woke me up an hour and a half later and graduation was over. Still to this day, biggest issue is I've got a lot of brain damage, man.
What areas of the brain were damaged, and what are some of these symptoms you suffer?
It's most of my, I guess is your memory part of your brain. I don't have most of my memory from before 2018 to a kid. Most of the things I know of are from videos or pictures. So I can't really tell you what happened in my Little League championship game, even though I know I played in the Little League champion game because I watched a video on it. I was like 12 years old at the time. Some shit you're supposed to remember. Girlfriend could walk in here and tell me, "Hey, babe, I need you to remember this." And then 30 minutes later, "Hey, do you remember what I told you?" "No, you told me something."
You can't remember anything during the initial crash.
Oh, I could tell you vividly every single part of my car wreck. It's actually, I've actually got diagnosed with PTSD as well. A lot of my sleeping issues go back to my accident. I get into my euphoria state, as they call it, your darkest part of your sleep or whatever. And I just, bam, I'm stuck in my accident over and over. I could tell you how many pennies he had in his cup holder, tell you how many notebooks he had on his passenger seat, till he had a cup of coffee in his passenger side of his car in the cup holder. My head hit his actual windshield. My right hip went pinned into like the driver part of his front end of his vehicle, and I rolled in a way. And when I rolled, I smacked the pavement on my head, and then he rolled over my right foot.
Anything you hear today trigger any memories? Does like hearing pennies make you think about that?
Actually, yeah, it's really, really shitty. If I'm at a gas station, I never pay with cash. Or if I'm at like a restaurant, I never pay with cash. Or if I do pay with cash, I tell them to keep the change. It's not like it's weird because like sometimes if I'm not paying any mind to it at all, I could usually block it out.
Controllable somewhat.
To an extent, I'm actually trying to get disability for it currently. I've got really bad anxiety as well. Like if, say, me and the old lady go to Walmart, me buying milk, and I just see somebody that looks like the dude, and I'm having a paranoia attack. Yo, we got to get out of here now. I like her. We go back the next day. It's cool.
Having like someone to suppress it, just
Per se, Dylan were to come here for a week, Dylan can literally sit there with a video recorder in the corner of every room in my house, and you'll probably hear me talk and walk around my house just as much as I do awake in my sleep.
yeah, like a lot of these symptoms are associated with initial frontal lobe damage.
Yeah.
So you sleepwalk
Do I ever?
regularly.
Probably sleep fucks too.
I'm a sleepwalker. Nah, man, I pretty much sleepwalk probably, if not every night, at least 5 nights out of the week. I also have sleep terrors, so it's not just sleepwalking sometimes. It's like I'm running around the house, looking at all the windows, trying to hide. Yo, they're fucking here. They're fucking here. We gotta go. They're fucking here. They're here. They're here. And I don't know what it is, but I was robbed one time. And I don't know if that's just amplified since my brain state after my accident. But that's one of the theories behind my sleep study on that one. What'd you say, bro?
Maybe that's why you have it, because you still have trauma from that event.
I guess, man. They just stole my Xbox and TV and some cash. I was pretty pissed, man. Came home from work. My room was the only room hit, and my brother's. It wasn't like my real brother.
Fucking
It was
inside
like one of the
job,
guys
dude.
we lived. Oh yeah, it definitely was. It was when I lived in Texas. I was the only. I'm not pulling any kind of bullshit on here. This is live.
It sounds like an inside job if they only hit certain rooms.
Have you improved? You know, you were able to detail your event to us well.
Man, I've been through a lot.
In this case, is it repulsive?
It depends. It depends on the day. I've got really great days. I've got really bad days. So like, fun story. If let's say a 5-year-old, right? A 5-year-old progressively throughout the day, as he gets tired or she gets tired, it gets tired, whatever. We all get the point that you could start hear the real childish, like gibberish bullshit.
Yeah.
That's basically what happens to me at nighttime. So if I work way too hard throughout the day, I get way too overexhausted, overexhilarated, or even I get super fucking happy, dude. I do like some weird jump or like some weird gallop type weird fucking shit.
So, what are the things you're actively doing to like mitigate it?
I do a lot of counting. I do a lot of music therapy. And by music therapy, I'm not musically inclined at all. I just listen to it. Basically, I just dive into research on myself, what to expect 10 years from now.
Does that comfort you? Seems like something I'd be pretty nervous to see.
It's comforting to know that I can understand it now because I won't be able to understand it then per se. And it's like a last resort, dude. I could be 50 and be fine. Well, my level of fine, not your level of fine. You'll be way more fine at that point. But my level of fine is not having dementia at too early of a state or some other thing medically that's linked to brain injuries. I've had multiple head trauma injuries.
So you've had more than one accident that's damaged your brain.
I've actually totaled a brand new car. I think 2 years ago. Don't know what happened. Woke up in some dude's driveway.
And so going back to the crash, you're still living where you're at currently.
No, man. I've progressed a lot further since then. So after the crash, from the crash to let's say June 14th. So June 14th, 2018, I actually got a job in construction. After my job in construction, that lasted to, let's see, skip, jump, hop, go. I've been on the medical board in the Army since December of 2018. So that's when I ended my construction career. From 2018 in December to May 2019, I had a lapse in employment. I fell behind in my medical, and I had a lapse in, I guess to say, progression with my mental state. I hit a hardcore rock bottom, blew through about $8,000 in a week, and realized I kind of had a problem after, making too much money at too young of an age after already having an addictive personality. Didn't really mix well. So moved back from Texas, moved back to New Orleans area with my parents for about 4 months.
What initially made you want to work with the Army?
Oh, I was already in the Army before my accident. I was a gung-ho little Army asshole kid.
So who signed you up for it? What happens? Because I want to know the mentality of what people think when they're going into that. Like, I understand people want money, people want this and that, but...
I didn't want the money. I didn't want the honor. I didn't really want any of it. I just wanted the stable lifestyle, the camaraderie. You always have somebody there who kind of cares. The brotherhood.
A sense of purpose.
Basically, like sense of belonging, a sense of, yo, dude, I did that shit just now. I don't know how I did that, but yeah, we did that as a team, bro. Congratulations.
Yeah. I was thinking about what you said about the oxycodone prescriptions. Now, how often, how many hours of the day are you medicated?
0. I've been off of pharmaceutical drugs since 2019.
That's seems to me like both fast, like just a major step.
I have a real big issue with pharmaceutical drugs. I don't really like them. I
But
don't
they
like
had
what they do to our
did,
bodies
right?
per the shit that they make illegal.
Was it difficult to get off them?
Hell yeah. I tell you what was easier. Quitting smoking cigarettes.
It was more difficult?
No.
Oh. Ooh.
Quitting drinking
Was harder?
was even
It was
it
even
was harder
easier.
than smoking cigarettes. Hey, look, sorry. Much love and all to the sober people, but I do share the occasional brew. But it's because I can only have like a half a beer or one. And then I don't have another one for a month.
What about any psychedelics or hallucinogenics?
Now that's where we get into fun time. First time, 2007, my parents' house in the camper. We had about 12 people at the house. Had some people in the little game room my parents had in the little side. It wasn't like a game room. It was like a little shed that we had put a karaoke machine, and I bought a pool table to go in. We were all kind of like a little high school party, quote unquote. Chick I was into. Hey, let's try this. Cool. Wildest night of my life. How do I remember it? I got a video of it somewhere on Snapchat. Other than that, I don't really know too much about my first time. I know about my last time, though, and I'll never touch acid again. I tripped acid 3 days in the woods looking for alien. I was camping.
What's that like being on that type of high?
Very, very dark states. Like, same reason they kind of say to get a babysitter. Yeah, fuck the rules, right? That's me. Yeah, never again. Saw a lot of dark shit, man. I thought trees were like the scariest things in my imagination at that point in time. I actually built an entire campsite with like logs and tree branches and palmetto leaves. For some of y'all who might know what that is. And little did I know, I built like a little place I could kind of lay down in. I built a little campfire. I didn't set it on fire or anything, but did all that tripping on acid thinking I was building a spaceship. For 3 days. It's more of a, what's the word? I guess you're already hallucinating, but like sleep deprivation kind of kicked in a little bit. What's your next question, Batman?
Now going back to fucking the acid, like, how long were you doing this?
Oh, dude, I probably did acid for like a year straight. Not every day, but like, you know.
Living if you don't do it every day, bro. No, just
Considerably a couple times, you know, a week.
you got a pretty good hairline for doing that much acid, bro.
Yeah, microdose, baby.
Nah, bro.
Do your research.
Nah, dude, you gotta do 10 hits in one day. What do you mean, bro? You gotta become the universe. You gotta become God as one.
Yeah, go talk to Chance Rapper.
Would love to talk
Lost
to
too many
him.
brain cells now.
I lost too many
dude,
brain
same.
cells now. Dude,
Shots fired.
I would, I would love to talk to Chance the Rapper. And then then you're related to Suicide Boys too, or what, Scrim?
Hey, look, I'm sure somewhere down the line we get the same last name.
Yeah, you do have the last name.
I won't tell you my last name, but I'll tell you his name. His name's Scott Arsenault.
Okay, so his
But you
last
guys
name's
got the same name?
Arsenault. Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell you his name, but I'm not gonna tell you my name, but I'm gonna tell you his name, and it's the same fucking name.
Fucking love you, Rat.
I got you, man.
Astro projection.
Oh, let's go there. Wait, that's still in psychedelic field in a way. It's not a far jump, so we can look at it.
Done it. I'm not gonna say how many times I've done it because I can't like really tell you for a certain number of times I've done it.
I've done it
It's kind of hard to like pin down an exact number, but I've actually done it with like groups of mediums before. In New Orleans, I've done it a couple times. Anybody familiar with New Orleans earlier? There's a place in Lakeview, I believe it is.
No, we're all New Mexicans besides Nick.
There's a couple other places. I actually did one place in Texas. Me and the chick freaked out.
You ever astro projected?
No, I just I've studied it from at least 2 angles, so it's interesting to me.
Zay, have you ever astro projected?
I don't know if I necessarily have, because, like, you've seen that movie Sinister, right?
No.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically just one concept of the movie. It's just like the little boy, he ends up astral projecting, but he ends up going off into like some dark place and he can't get back to his body. So that's like the whole thesis of the movie.
That's not
regardless.
Sinister, brother. It's Insidious, but yes.
Insidious, there you go, my bad. Sinister's a
Oh.
good ass movie though. That's why I like it. That's why I said that shit. But regardless though, Insidious is what I'm talking about. My bad.
Oh yeah, dude, I love dead bodies.
I've actually astral projected once in my life, and actually
It's better than
twice.
nothing.
Actually, twice in my life, and the first time I was living in an RV with no running water, no power, no nothing, and the girlfriend at the time was fucking around with some dude, and I got really hurt, and I was like, I need to smoke some weed, I need to do something to cope with this, and then I was like, I'm gonna meditate, and I started meditating, and before I knew it, I was looking in between my thoughts when I was meditating, because I was looking in between my thoughts to have no thoughts. And what
Yes.
that led, yeah, brother, yes, in between my thoughts. And before I knew it, there was a beam of light between my thoughts. And I went through the light with my mind. And then before I knew it, I looked up and I saw this, maybe like not really a tunnel, but like you know how you would interpret a UFO abducting somebody. It was kind of like that kind of light. And I looked up and I saw it and I started rising up. And I was
You were
rising
probed?
up. I wasn't probed, but I was rising up.
It's not a true
And
abduction.
then I looked at no, it was this astral projection, jackass. So I was looking down. I saw my body sitting there, cross-legged, sitting up straight, but I wasn't in my body. And I remember I kept getting pulled up and up. And then I saw the roof of the RV I was living in. And then I saw the mesa and the sagebrush. And I kept going higher and higher. And then I saw Taos. And then I looked up and I saw the beam of light that I was going through. And I saw a red
Holy
door.
shit.
And I saw the red door. And my instinct thought was go through the red door. So I don't know if I can say my soul, me, or whatever, but it wasn't my body, because my body was down on earth. And I went through, and I went through the door, and I
Dylan,
opened the,
was the door above or
was
it's
above.
above you, correct?
It was above, but when I was looking at it, it was even. We were on the same level at this point. Because by this time I didn't know up from down, left from right. I just saw the door and the entrance, and I went through the door. Went through it, and I saw
up from down left.
a jungle, flowers, plants, life. Not plants that you would necessarily say are from Earth. And
Oh, like some Avatar type shit.
it really felt like it. So
I've had
through it.
I've had times like that, bro. Keep going. That shit's beautiful, bro.
It was pretty sinister, to be honest. I went through it, and the door closed, and I looked behind me, and I saw this big shadow figure, big as fuck, looking at me. And I looked up at it, and then I was like, yeah, I'm not fucking with you. So I turned her around, and then I saw a pool of water that was like bringing off light. Like that was the only light that was in this area, was the light that was coming from the water. And I went to the water and I saw a being. Wasn't human, maybe alien, I don't know. It was humanoid, but it wasn't us. And it was sitting there next to the water. And it was like telepathically talking to me. It wasn't like we said anything with our mouths. It was like kind of like let's say text messages to your mind. And it said something like, you've came. And I was like, where am I? And like it was describing of like waiting for you, you've come, I've been here waiting for you. and it was like telling me that like I need to be careful while astro projecting, because you can get cut off from your body, and then something or somebody else can take your body and then do what they want.
Very
with your
true.
body.
Very true.
Is it though?
Yes, actually.
I don't know. From my own.
There's a whole study on it, actually. I can't think of it at the top of my head right now, but I promise you I'm gonna do the research and get it back to you.
I will.
But I remember going over this with a buddy where they did a lot of research on it, and it's kind of like a micro possession in a way. If you watch a new Netflix series called Beyond Our Eyes, it kind of shows how it is possible, not to that extent, but
okay.
it is possible in a way.
So.
I mean, that's like kind of associated with waking up with another identity too. I mean, I'm just trying to be skeptical about it because, like,
You can't be biblical about it though. Like that
Skeptical.
is a major point about this. You can't be biblical. You got to let religion kind of go for this kind of conversation, if that makes sense.
I mean, but if we're being open-minded, you gotta include everything, even religion, though. But you just can't have like notions to like be glued to your ideas. You gotta be open-minded. But
Oh yeah, you got to be extremely open-minded.
like what I'm trying to get at is like, do you truly believe that? Like, say even for the instance of you even just doing it inside of your room, place a glass of water on your table and try to place that in your mind. Now that would be simple because your mind has recognition for simple things like that. Now do this with several items, a bunch of items, maybe even a couple you'd forget. Now try astral projecting and remember the image and wake up and try matching it to reality. Like, do you I'm just trying to be skeptical about it.
I can still imagine everything that I saw.
No, but say the things that you forget too. Like, say if you imagine something completely different, would you?
So
be
it depends
skeptical?
on how dark you're going into it.
Maybe
like it depends.
I had visions of stuff that I recognized as if I didn't recognize it. Maybe it would have just been lines and dimensions or whatever the fuck. But at this time, I just saw another humanoid thing. Maybe it could have been an energy, could have been God, could have been whatever the fuck. But when I saw it, we talked.
Gamora.
And it was like text messages from one to another. And this was in freshman year. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. And this was before I went on my psychedelic binge. This is before I started smoking weed at a heavy amount. This was before I even started drinking at a heavy amount. This was before any of this. And I remember
You were still a virgin.
telling me that I need to be careful of, like, you can lose your soul, or not even your soul, but you can lose the attachment to your body to something else. And I honestly, at the moment, I still to this day, dude, I don't know what the fuck was the point of it. I don't understand what the fuck was going on. And I remember the being telling me, like, don't worry, everything passes, everything comes, everything goes. It also told me a lot of other things, and I'm not gonna get into it because it's just a fucking brain boggle. And it did all that, and then I remember it was like, I'm sending you back to your body. And then I popped back into my body, and when I got back, it was like 10 minutes passed by when it felt like fucking days have passed by. Like days, bro. Like, I could have sworn to God.
Felt like years.
No, not even years. No, not that far. But it felt like days passed by of me and this being talking on this level.
Damn.
And I remember going back, and I was telling my mom about it, and she was just looking at me like, you fucking crazy, bro. And, like, I used to be, like, big into, like, school brands, like, oh, I need to get the newest brand for my shoes. But after this experience, I was like, none of that matters. None of this matters. Degrees don't matter. School doesn't matter. None of this matters. And I feel like it kind of fucked me for this reality that we have going on right now. But I also feel like it enlightened me in a whole nother way. But who knows? Maybe it's
And that's what we want to get out of it. Everybody wants to
reality.
get enlightenment out of it.
But maybe it was my own reality, my own make-believe thing.
What if you caught yourself from another dimension?
Maybe I did. I don't know.
You ever heard of portaling?
No.
It's similar to astral projection, but it's kind of, you got to be really, 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 really open-minded for this one. It's kind of where if you are in such a state, you can find yourself in a similar instance that you were just mentioning, kind of like in another dimension.
I almost felt like I was on another planet, to be honest. But it could have been another dimension. It could have been whatever the fuck. But in that moment, my thought was, I'm on another planet talking to this being about all this other shit.
I mean, yeah, for all we know, we're only Earth 3.27531, you know, like,
Could be.
who knows?
Or
So
There's
yeah.
thousands of galaxies.
Or it could have been my own dream and my own reality, my own bullshit. Who the fuck?
I just hope we have the best Wi-Fi.
Oh my god, shut the fuck up. And then
But isn't that the fucking common dream though that everybody has, is enlightenment and fucking seeing beings and shit? Like, imagine somebody goes there with an intent of fucking something completely different.
well,
Like how,
see,
and it's very rare that we hear stories like that. I'm being skeptical about that. Like, let me get that minder. But I'm just saying that, like, imagine about the other shit that everybody else does think about while tripping like that too. Like, it's not,
but
it doesn't
I
necessarily
wasn't on
mean.
psychedelics. I wasn't on any of this. I was completely.
So my first
Oh,
time,
that's what
I
I'm saying,
was,
though. Like, it's like imagine the other shit that people think about besides fucking beings and like.
Could have been a guard.
my first time I did it sober, it was kind of like that, Dylan.
Weird.
Your first time, I was curious because you said this was with a group of mediums, right?
Mm-hmm. So
Well, how
we
did
all
this
were
go?
in a room.
Well, before this, how did you end up with mediums? Were you?
This was all right after my accident. This was my first time doing it after my accident.
This is for therapy
make
purpose. I'm
No,
wondering.
it was more of me trying to find myself.
Okay, but you
I
didn't
didn't
have.
quite know what was going on. I was
Okay.
having this real dark dreams, I thought it was. And I went, go speak to them. And they said, I want to try this with you. Come see us for your Sunday for this. Blah, 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 blah. Saturdays we do this. And you come in on Mondays and Wednesdays and we do this.
Go on.
Sorry, I had to sneeze.
I want to say.
So
my
I
second
went in a
experience
couple
out of
times.
this. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. I went in a couple times and we really dove in about, you brought up Insidious earlier. So a lot of my dreams, I always lead up to this one door. Sometimes I open the door, sometimes I don't. Every time I open the door, it changes. But if I open the door behind me, I'm told I don't wake up. So I go see the medium. This was the dream I had before I went to see the medium. So I go see the medium, we're talking. We dive real big deep into like demons, and if you really believe into those, more like people who walk the earth, but they're spirituals. They just walk, they float amongst us, they could consume you in certain aspects. That's where people believe in possessions and shit like that. I'm just kind of like loosely coating everything. If you want me to dive into anything particular, just say something.
So, I mean, if we could pause that for a minute and just like talk about how we, like, before we get deep into like how do we do this shit? Like, I mean, what's the
Meditate.
process of even starting it?
Meditate. Just focus on
For how
breathing.
long?
Dude, however long
There's
it
no
takes
time.
your body. However long it takes you, yourself, and your body to do it.
You have to reach the most
But
center point of gravity within you, per se.
and to start that, you have to focus on your breathing. Fuck thoughts. Fuck things.
I go limp.
It's
But like when
That's
you're
how I do it.
trying to get into this mindset, you have to just focus on your breathing. You'll have a lot of thoughts cross your mind, like, am I breathing too much? Let it pass. You'll have another thought. Let it pass. Another thought. Let it pass.
Best way to do it,
Pass.
listen to classical music for 30 minutes and control your
Bro,
breathing.
I don't even say listen to music. I say be there in silent and just
Well, a lot of people can't control their breathing. A lot of people
You
need
can-
like a timing,
It's hard, but dude, I swear.
and
to
you
God,
could fall into the beat of the music. Some people.
The point is, you need to have a meditative object. It's difficult.
Yes.
Yes.
You could follow
need to
whatever
have
suits you.
a rough idea of what the fuck you're doing, and
You know how there's a focal point in a room usually? You have to be your own focal point.
yes, and honestly, you just focus on your breathing, and then once you get to this black stage of your thoughts, you'll see thoughts fly by you, and you have to focus on looking in between those thoughts, bypass all your thoughts, and at that stage, your body's already gonna be doing its own.
I'm just gonna play the
breathing.
dumbass for a minute because you guys are coming at me like all kinds of different things. I get the point of the controlling and the breathing and that too. So the essential fucking point of it is to just necessarily just get your mind going blank, not even controlling your breathing, not even thinking about this. It's just straight blanking your mind.
Yes.
It's hard.
That's what
it's hard.
That's what
It's
I'm getting
so-
at because like
it's so
personally,
hard to
personally
do
for
it.
you, like I get it though. Like you have to focus on your breathing, but I'm just saying like the initial.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's
objection-
drugs you can
objective is-
take to
No,
blank
but
your mind out.
But the best way to do it is like sober. No weed, no nothing.
Some people,
But the initial
people.
objective is to be blank-minded.
Yeah, and like
Hey, look, I've met people who've got to do some crazy shit to do it.
DMT.
Yes, I've met some people to just do DMT.
But like,
I mean, not even DMT, because then that would be a side effect of the drug. I'm even thinking about just like
just
you think.
Well, a lot of
Soberly.
people compare me and Dylan's conversations to a DMT trip.
I've never done DMT too.
Well, that's what I was gonna say though too. Like it's like a placebo effect. I mean, you think about how these people do these rituals after so long. I mean, some people would add things, take away things, even in that act. I mean, it kind of does play a placebo effect. Concluding, it does add to it. I'm not saying nothing does happen, but I'm just
So,
saying maybe shit like
Zay,
that does.
Our brains, our minds, our bodies create our own DMT, and it's like
I get that. Yeah, I understand that.
yeah. So it's like
Every living thing produces DMT.
Yeah, it's like we are at this DMT stage.
Mm.
And it
No, you only produce DMT when you're born and you're dead.
Yeah, or in states of like severe shock or adrenaline.
no. Bodies produce
Yes,
it all
yes.
the time.
No.
Bodies produce it all the time.
There's a whole
Well, they probably can.
there's a
No,
whole nother
no,
one you're talking
no.
about, right?
No. Like
I mean, I'm not
the
trying to
highest-
scare your notion. Teach me first. Teach me what your side is. Let me see what you got, dog.
so
Teach
the,
me.
The highest stages of getting DMT is when you're born and you're dead. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But your body can still produce it. Your body
So it's like a
produces
microdose?
it all the time. Dude, your body produces it all the fucking
No, but that's
time.
what we're trying to agree on. Like we're saying, like
when you
say
have
if you
a
get a fast
fucking-
car, just because it goes fast doesn't mean you're gonna make it fast. Like
No.
we're able to produce DMT 24/7, but our body doesn't need to.
Because fuck no, dude, our bodies aren't capable of it. But
But
you
it's the way it's
slowly
processed.
can.
Not everybody's
have it.
capable of this either, though.
No,
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm just saying though. I get what you're coming from. Like it's able to produce it 24/7, but I'm saying like, does the body sufficiently need DMT to be processed that much? I mean, I'm sure there's
it
people
would be
that
better.
made it from it,
It
and
would be better. But our body
Technically, half the shit we consume in that nature, in that scientifical nature, everything we consume, we kind of already produce in some ways.
even like
There's
having
something in
fucking
there.
Dream produces a little bit of it.
yeah. Let me.
See, I always thought that was like serotonin or some shit.
So we gotta be educational to our viewers too, dog.
It produces, I mean, it doesn't produce, but it's linked with serotonin for sure. I've heard though what Dylan's saying, that I just heard it somewhere online that it is constant.
Yes, all our bodies have it. It's just whether you tap into it or not.
Okay, well, yeah.
It's not saying like, okay, so I have DMT going on. Rhett has
Yeah.
DMT. Nick has DMT. Zay, you have DMT. Quinn has DMT. We all have it right now. It's like the third eye. It's kind of like, it's not technically realistically the third eye, but it's like you tap into
It's in the pineal gland.
But, well, it's like that kind
Not
of shit.
just the pineal gland.
But yeah, it's all over in your fucking body. But it's just whether you tap into it, kind of thing. Like,
But that's like trying to
You-
say. I
you
mean,
can
I'm just trying to be the devil's advocate. I mean, say
dude, I
you're
love it.
dog. Okay, watch. Like, say this. Say you have fucking even THC in your blood right now. Am I trying to tap into it? Even though, like, say I have no weed and I just smoked. I'm like, dog, I'm trying to tap into that shit. I just smoked, dog.
Trying
It's
to
in my
tap
system.
that
Homie.
too,
I'm trying to
dog.
tap into that shit. I mean,
But
I mean,
our body doesn't produce THC. Our body produces DMT.
okay,
That's
I
the
get that. I
difference
mean,
right
even
there.
another analogy. Say even for iron in your blood. Like, say I'm trying to tap into my iron, dog. I'm trying to.
No.
Haha.
No, you
It is
need
clear
iron.
that every minute concentrations of DMT have been. I'm not saying the medical, whatever term of it. I can't pronounce it. I'll be real with you, but it does have it.
Yes.
I'll screenshot it and send it. It is clear that, hey, have been detected, but they are not sufficient to produce psychoactive effects.
Not everybody can, like, it's not like saying like everybody can do it. It's like you're kind of saying like everybody can go fucking dunk a basketball. Not everybody can do it. You feel me? Like, some people can tap into this. Like me personally, I tapped into it twice. That was it. Have I done it since?
Okay.
No, I haven't. But it happens. Like, if you, it's like
Okay,
a
so
whole-
you're saying some people are able to fucking just trip off of.
Yes, yes. And it's a huge. It changes your whole fucking perspective, dude.
But you said there's these studies on them. Like, I'm just interested to know the thesis on them. Like, how many years it's been done, and
Well,
'Cause-
it's different. It's just different on people. Like, some people
I'm aware of
That's
one
what I'm
study.
saying.
than others.
I don't recall details from this, but there has been a recent allowing of subjects, voluntary subjects, to take DMT. And
Yes.
questioned afterwards.
A lot of military soldiers, by the way.
I think that was, yeah, lots of people with PTSD, right?
Yes, they also did it back in I think it was the 80s with LSD, and they did another study with something else in the 90s,
But I think
and
this
they did
DMT
something
is
else
recent.
with ecstasy.
Technically, DMT is not
Well,
recent. We've had.
No, I mean,
one.
recent that it was a study. You know, that it was allowed to actually. You know, you can't legally be allowed to be tested on people. But from what I gathered,
They
What?
pay you to do it, yeah.
what everyone reported was something akin to the Godhead. Everyone said they interacted with God, and
Yes.
this intrigued, of course, the psychologist, because you're looking for patterns that don't have physical correlation, which would be,
Yeah, want me to dive into this whenever I technically died into my accident after this segment now?
yeah, sure. Well, my point, I'm just trying to say that it's interesting that it's actually, there's a scientific study between the same phenomenon occurring in different people with DMT.
So,
DMT.
my story actually kind of backs up everything you just kind of battered around. It was
I mean, but
basically...
that's really subjective too, though. I mean, I'm sure you
know
could
what you're
attest to some things, but it is subjective. Even in Dylan's experience too, like he's able to tap into it. I've never tried.
I'm sure maybe if I tried again, maybe. Because the last.
But like I
time
said, though, it's
did it-
subjective though. It's like personal experience, preference.
And like,
I mean,
honestly, it could just be a dream. You know what I mean? Like, it could just be my own.
That's where a lot of us get confused. Is it just a dream?
But
yeah, it could be, or it could
Am
be.
I
memories
actually
from
doing it?
childhood,
But it
or-
could be. Like, it could be fake. It could
But we
be
don't know.
real.
When we say just a dream, putting just.
I'll let you guys know in a couple months, because I've been seeing 14 different specialists for this shit since 2018.
'Cause there's this theory that I was reading about humans creating ideas to cope with reality. Because some, like, there's people who think, like, I mean, not even just even think about the thought of reality. Like, you start thinking about it, you get depressed, you start freaking out. You start thinking about what's the word? You start having not an identity crisis, but just an existential crisis is what they call it, and people freak out and have suicidal thoughts about it. But what I'm just trying to get at is, fuck? I was
Dude,
doing
there's
so-
been studies on that since the 1920s.
Hold up. This is where I could back you up, Zay, because when I experienced it, I was going through a lot of bullshit, bro. Emotionally, I couldn't handle it. And this is why I'm kind of like, I don't know if it was real. I don't know if it was a dream. I don't know if it was my mind creating my own reality to escape from what I was experiencing at this moment in life. Because I was going to high school. I couldn't fucking shower for a fucking week. My fucking girlfriend was cheating on me. I was just like vivid, bro. Drugs and just, I was going down a shitty road. And I don't know if it was real. Maybe I contacted God. Maybe I contacted an alien. Or maybe it was all fucking made believe. But in my perspective, it felt fucking real. But so do dreams. So, who the
Did he have a nice beard?
No, it was fucking like bluish greenish. It was like a woman. It was like a woman humanized thing. And then the second time I went into it was like an orange door, and I was in like a room with a light flickering, and the same dark being I saw in the first one was there, and it was slowly taking over the whole room, and it grabbed me and it said, "What are you doing?" And this was back when I was doing like a lot of cocaine and drinking and just doing a lot of drugs and a lot of shit. And it grabbed me and it was like, "What are you doing?" And then I snapped out of it and I haven't gone back since, bro. I haven't gone back since. And part of me...
Sure it wasn't the drugs?
Could have been at that point. But I saw the same dark being I saw the first time I did it. And back when I first did it, I wasn't into like any of that shit. But I also feel like that dark being I saw was a part of me. Could have been me.
Mm-hmm. Like quantum, is it quantum physics?
Dude, my brain's not big enough for that. I don't even know. But I feel like that being that I saw.
They had a whole video game about this, Quantum Break.
Okay, that's what I had to let off my chest. I'm done.
Buddhist meditation aiming for what they call samadhi, which is single pointed consciousness, which is, detaching from the thoughts. It's not enlightenment, it's far from it still, but it's strange to us who haven't encountered it. Well, one meditation practice for getting to that state is mandalas, those circles with all kinds of designs. Well, common practice was going through the gates, and you'll see if you look up, I think Tibetan mandalas have it when they have the gates that they have to go through in their mind as they're meditating on the circle that is themselves. And behind the gates are demons of sorts, things and you don't get to the next gate until you progress, until you overcome the being at the first one.
Talking about like Dharma, the three varas.
The wheel of Dharma, yeah. It's just interesting hearing Dylan's
Body, speech, and mind.
I feel like Buddhism has a decent point, but at the same time, I don't want to waste my whole fucking being and my whole life experience just to build up for that death experience. I am sorry to sound...
Okay, bro, you made me remember what the fuck I was gonna say. My bad.
What if it was your calling to become a Buddhist?
Let's go, Zay. Shirts off. What you got, bro? Let's go.
So you're talking about all these idealistic things, but the point I was getting at before I fucking my ass forgot is that the theory that I was reading is that some people fucking make up these ideas just to cope with life because they can't deal with reality. Like I was saying, they get suicidal. That's the main factor in it. But you ever think about people writing the Bible just to give people like order? I mean, I'm not, even me personally, I can't even talk about the Bible because I believe in something like that. Like even say just any other idea.
Nah, dude, everybody knows it was King James.
No, but regardless, though, what my point is getting at is that they made these stories to keep people in order. Like even people are arguing, oh, the Bible was written by man. Regardless, you cannot argue that this book has stood the test of time with these rules. I mean, I'm not
That is
talking
true.
about... I'm not talking about where
Okay.
the women should subject to men. I'm talking about like the morality of it, like the
Zay.
10 Commandments. Like,
You kind of contradicted that whole thing by saying people can make up this whole notion and then write the Bible. I'm not trying to fucking, you know.
no, but that's
I'm
the whole
throwing
point of it.
hands. I'm throwing hands. You know what? Fuck.
No,
I'm
that's my
throwing
point of it,
hands.
dog. That's my
like-
fucking point.
All right.
Has anybody actually read the
They
Bible?
made, no, because that, yeah, but what my point is that they made this shit so that way people wouldn't freak out about reality. Like,
Well,
even just
like-
when you go on your trips to fucking higher beings and shit, like, imagine that's just like a coping mechanism to make you not freak out. It's like, it's something that you're bound to. It's your reality. Like, even what I'm talking about, even in life, people have a lot of different obscured, I mean, not obscured, they have their own visions of reality. But like, when you think about life too much, like, you get a weird feeling. Like, even, I mean, I personally do think about life and death, but even thinking about an afterlife, that kind of helps me cope with it. Like, that's just something to help cope with there, keeping sanity within the world. That's just what my fucking, the whole point of this shit is that they made certain fucking ideas to keep humans sane, because we fucking go insane thinking about reality.
Yes.
I see. Yeah.
So boom, Dylan, your shots missed, homie.
But also, is it a bad thing to be insane, motherfucker? Is it a
He's
bad
playing
thing to
Russian
be
roulette
insane?
with no bullets.
Is it a bad thing to be insane?
Depending
Is
on
it a
who
bad
defines
thing?
what's insane and what isn't.
Well, okay, obviously bad insane. I'm gonna fucking go do this and fucking blast some fools. Yeah, that's bad. But is it a bad thing to be insane and think that this has happened to you, and then it bettered yourself in the long run? Is that insane?
Wait, what are we
Depends
talking
on-
about at this point?
I'm talking about the first time I had this whole epiphany. It could have been fake. It could have been my own mind playing tricks on me. Who the fuck
It
knows?
depends. It depends. Nobody ever really has to know. I do though. You kind of tied
all
your
we
second
know-
experience to it, right?
For all we know is we're living our own individual realities. So, like, say Zay believes in heaven and hell. Say I believe in fucking reincarnation. Say we created our own realities, and then after death, it's what we created that we progress into the next level. So, say like back in the 800s when people believed in Christianity, say they went to heaven or hell. Say pagans went to Valhalla. What if they created their own thing and each different race or different religion went to their own thing? What if that? But it could also be wrong. There could also be heaven or hell. There could be the Christian gods. But
What about purgatory, dude? You're forgetting a whole. You're forgetting a whole third stage.
Then, what if they created that own reality for themselves to be in that? I need a fucking cigarette, bro. Hey, Zay,
What up?
I love you. Much love,
I
bro.
understand all
Much
this,
love,
bro. I'm
bro.
trying to educate.
Nah, dude, Zay came out of nowhere,
I
dog.
love Zay for playing devil's advocate, bro. I fucking love it because he's like, I'm not just gonna buy into it. What the fuck, bro? I
So, going back to Insidious, who remembers the movie vividly?
never watched it.
I remember it, like, I had each demon. No,
Okay, so you remember whenever they first start off into it and they go into the realm and they're walking through like all the people per se? That's kind of how it kind of was. I guess whenever I kind of was in the hospital
Experienced it.
per se.
But then I could also see what Zay's saying. Like, what if we built it as a coping mechanism? Because, like, you were going through shit and you experienced it, and I was going through a bunch of shit when I experienced it.
But I also stopped breathing.
It still could have been, like, a coping mechanism in its own way. You feel...
like your body went into shock and it saved itself, maybe. Or...
But then, what if it was real?
That's kind of what it's kind of like. So, like, what if I did kind of get out of my body? Because I stared at everybody was in my room. And then next thing I know, I walked out of my, like, hospital room. And it was just a long, narrow hallway with and then like 100 yards, there was no lights, and then there was another light. Like, you know, like creepy ass hospital shit.
Silent Hill.
Yeah, it kind of went to that real fucking quick. Went down to the door all the way at the end, and I opened it, and it was this bright light. And there was this little micro-sized cat. And I was like Alice in Wonderland in a way. Whenever he gets like really tiny.
Yeah.
That's kind of what happened to me in a way. But like, it wasn't like really tiny. It was us in a natural size. Just everything else was so large. Like Avatar type shit. Like, you know, like the plants and shit we were talking about earlier, Dylan?
Yeah.
And then I just went through this. It was like a field, but it was still like a dark night, like an amber.
It had like a dark, like, surrounding color to it.
Yes. And that was just like for like maybe felt like a day of hiking with this cat.
But then deep down, it was like a few minutes or seconds when you came back to your body.
Altogether, real lifetime, it was 30 minutes. So what it felt like to me in my mind was years. And that's what's so scary, is because I don't know if I got to see my future self.
Imagine living your whole life to an old man and just coming back and it never happened.
Family you built is just vanished.
Maybe that's...
There's a lot more to this story, but like, I guess if you dive back two phases back, let's say, going back into like entering the field, the conversation with the cat's very important, right? It's not like a cat, it's got like, I don't know, it was really creepy. It was like one of my best friend's voices. But that my best friend, for all context, he was not there at the hospital, so there was no way he was talking to me and I was listening to him. And he was just like talking to me about like, all right, man, so this is it. This is where we're gonna go. You found the bright light. Are you ready? And then it was like a day of, instead of are we there yet, it was are you ready? Are you ready? And I felt like I was on death row, Doug. I felt like I was walking through this field, dark, and then it gets into a patch of like rain, but there's no ground. And I wake up. It was like I was walking in I guess to say like space or clouds per se. And when I talked to the mediums about it, they said it sounds more like you were sucked back in by something. Does that make sense?
I could feel that. I could feel like when you describe like the darkness and like it's almost like you're on clouds, but you are on ground, but you're not on ground. I can feel that when I had my own experience. But then Zay has me thinking like, what if we just mentally created that thing? But what if it actually did happen? And
well, I've had this multiple times.
But like, what if
multiple times?
Like, what if it's just like a coping mechanism? But what if it's real?
Well, I can tie Zay's theory of the coping mechanism to my dreams, because in my dreams, I'm my own. Sometimes I can build my own world.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'm being tortured. Sometimes I'm being killed. Sometimes it's my accident.
But like this experience doesn't really feel like lucid dreaming. It feels like a whole at least for me, it didn't feel like lucid dreaming. It felt like a whole another level of like being.
I was starving. I was extremely thirsty. Like, it literally felt like I was gone for a year or two. But in real life, it was only 30 minutes.
Interesting. I mean, maybe one of these days I could pay you guys to, like, I don't know. I can't even say to pay you guys to mess around with this because of how serious it is. Maybe we could get some people to like actively try messing around with certain things, like actively trying to disconnect from your body, or
I won't do it again after the last experience.
yeah. See, that's what I'm saying though.
I won't do
That
it
raises
again.
a question, Rhett. Isn't the whole
Yes.
idea of the mediums that being in a group enhances the possibility for everyone, right?
It depends.
Everyone's
So
really there.
it depends on how comfortable you are with the people in the room. So they invited my dad's wife, my stepmother, my mother, woman who raised me. They invited her into the room after like her third or fourth time. We were all kind of just goofing off, and in our last group before they invited my mother woman in, we all were just in this dark analyzation of my accident. I don't know how to explain this. So I was in my own realm per se, and everybody else was in their other own realms, and we all were just comparing thoughts after everybody was kind of done with their own thing. It's not like you all get together in one dream. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm sure there are ways that you probably could. I'm not an expert in it. I'm just a guy who got lucky to do it a couple times.
Dylan, can you
I
just
get it though. It's like just the energy creates your own. But my bad, Quinn. I didn't mean to cut you off.
It made it easier though, like to test your theory, bro. It did make it easier. I'll give you that. It made it easier.
What's up, Quinn?
how's that being you saw? Could you describe it again? I was just curious.
Which one? The shadow?
No, the
Sasquatch.
Like which one?
I think he said blue was one of the colors. Which one?
No, that was the background.
So
remember?
No. I saw a dark being behind me that clicked.
No, this was earlier. You were talking about the pillar of light.
That was way back.
So they were sitting near the water, waiting for me. It was like a humanoid-looking character. Can't even say creature because it was humanoid. It was like us, but different. And at the time, I believed it was an alien trying to contact me because at that point, I was really trying to get abducted by aliens because I was on the whole fucking far-fetched shit. But
all right, Trevor.
Felt like, shut the fuck up. So it felt like it like caught me and was waiting for me. But it was like a greenish bluish. Like obviously it wasn't a human, but it looked like a human. But then it could have been my own mind projecting it like that. But it also told me stuff that like when I was a freshman I couldn't comprehend, and the more that I get older I understand more of what I was told that day. I understand.
I feel that
more. Yeah, and like the things that you were told were kind of like, but then you get older.
It'll choke you up a little bit.
Oh yeah, it's like choking on a big dick, dude. You don't know.
No, like it really, like all jokes aside, like I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I can totally relate to that.
But I don't know if it could have been God or gods or an alien, or my self-projectedness, or a dimensional creature, or a demon. I couldn't tell you. But it gave me guidance. It told me not to worry about what you do, not to worry about what you become. Just do what you do and live life. And then the second time I went into it, that was a whole nother monstrosity. I didn't see that same human being or humanoid thing.
When you went in the second time, was it the same kind of startup?
No, well, it was going through the door, but it was not the same environment. It was
So that's kind of like how I had mentioned earlier, where the door kind of changes almost every time.
Well, no, the door was a different color, but when I went through the door, it was like I was in a room with a light dangling. It was like an insane asylum room. And this being,
Better than Silent Hill.
and this being was behind me and saying, "What are you doing?" And it was like this powerful. It felt powerful. It felt powerful.
Describe it though. Like, what did it look like?
Big, dark, huge, giant, overwhelming. Me. I felt like it was me. Quinn, when I did this was back when we were doing music for the first time. This is when I had this thing.
Wait, pardon again?
Like when me and you were first messing with rap.
Yeah, this was then.
Yes. And I felt like it was me, but at the same time it wasn't me. But then I felt like it was trying to take charge. I don't know.
What would you say now, like looking back at it now versus your first perspective on it? What would you like? How would your perspective say have changed as you've more learned to develop an acceptance to it?
I feel like it is like a dark side of me. I feel like the first time that I went through it, that dark energy was me going into it. Not really me.
The AA side of me wants to say was that you're calling to be sober, but
No,
nah,
because
the other part of me wants to say,
well, the first time I went into it, I was sober. I was completely
Right.
sober. But it was there. It wasn't so big, but it was there. And
did you have a traumatic childhood?
I wouldn't really say so, no.
Did you have a traumatic experience before your first experience of projection?
Not something that I would go bitch about, no.
That's interesting because like a lot of people that I've talked to about this have all had a traumatic experience. So like this is interesting to me to meet you, you know.
I feel like that being was me in a past life. Kind of like I'm in a new body trying to develop a new soul. But that was like the old soul. That was still there.
You familiar?
What if that was your way of releasing a bad part of you?
It could have been. But then it could also just be me. Or it could not be.
Do you think it changed you? I mean, it seems like, yeah, for sure, but would you say, looking back, some bad characteristics you left behind after that?
I wasn't so angry. I wasn't punching walls into every fucking thing I saw. I wasn't trying to fight everybody I saw. I wasn't trying to fucking... Yeah, honestly. Yeah, I could see that. Because I used to be violent as fuck when I was growing up. I used to just want to fucking fight everybody and beat the shit out of everybody and just fuck shit up. Like, my own window, I fucking threw a propane tank through it. and just kicked my door down. Dude, I was crazy. That's insane. With anger. I was full of hate. I was full of anger.
Do you think that going back to Zay's earlier theory of this is a way of us coping, and that was your coping mechanism to kick out the negative energy and you to face it face on?
I could see that. I could honestly
at your deepest, darkest form of exhaustion, because you had mentioned you were really beaten and exhausted during that moment of time, right?
Yeah, yes, I was. I hated everything. I hated everything. Everybody, everything. Didn't matter if you were a fucking human or animal. I hated everything. And after that, I stopped hating so much. And then the second time I came back and I was like, love, compassion. So maybe I did leave it behind. But still deep down in my soul, I feel like...
Do you feel that a piece of your soul is missing, though?
I feel like I'm not the badass motherfucker that I used to be. No. I feel like I used to be a hard-ass motherfucker, and I feel like I'm not that anymore. But is that a
But you know what I mean? Like, do you feel like a piece of emptiness in you because of that?
Like helplessness? Like there's no point to do some things?
No, like an emptiness. Like there's something missing. Like you got a void that you need to fill now.
Yeah, but no. Like, I still feel like I am here, whole, as I will ever be, but I also feel like I don't have the same drive, the same fighting power as I did back then.
Oh, pardon, sorry if I twisted up stories here. The second time was when you saw the gate and the shadow figure, correct?
Yeah.
So what was it? There was the gate, the shadow, and you said a fire in there?
Not a fire. It was like...
Did I have that?
It was like an insane asylum room, and I felt like the same shadow figure that I saw in the first one just overwhelming the room in darkness. And all I could see was the light moving back and forth. Like, you know how you have a light hanging from the ceiling and it's just a light bulb and it's just swinging off the power cord? It was just that, but I couldn't see anything around me towards the end of it. And then by that point, I knocked out of it. I came back.
You heard of Aleister Crowley?
Yeah.
I have not.
Fucking love that man.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy. An occultist. Like
an English occultist.
Yeah, he kind of paved a lot of what occultism is for the West today anymore. It's hard to find anything that doesn't have his influence.
He was also a magician.
Right, well, that's kind of where I'm going. So he made it his pursuit to what he called establish contact with the holy guardian angel. So it took him some time, but apparently he finally achieved it. And he described it as looking like a little alien figure. And the Kabbalah is a system he was well familiar with. A lot of occultism uses it for a template for everything, really. So there's this notion of you're here in the material world called Malkuth. It's Earth, but it's more like just all the material world. You could also compare it to like the Matrix. And you ascend up the pillar of light to, in a way, it's achieving like a oneness with God where everything's the same. But before that, where you encounter the angel, according to a lot of claims, is at this level they call the veil. The veil's just this high state of consciousness, I think a little above astral projection, because astral
This is
projection
inside of his religion, though, right?
The Kabbalah's a old Jewish religion
Because he
transformed.
founded his own religion, Thelema.
Is it a religion, huh? What's up? Do you call it a religion? I just noticed just they practice magic. It's occultism. I know he integrated.
It's more of like a philosophy movement.
Yeah, because he's filled it with Egyptian god influence and Sumerian and Christian, so it's this big mixing bag of stuff. Anyhow, the pillar ascension, there's like a practice to get to that state. Well, for a lot of things, but the practice involves feeling as though you're contacted on the ground, but you're ascending and you're going up the pillar and you're in this spacey area and you're dividing into 4 sections with the corresponding directions, and those directions correspond with if you're using like biblical metaphors, it'd be the 4 guardian angels, but really you can pull it from any religion you choose. But so Dylan, the thing you contacted to me is just sounding a lot like what I've heard people describe as encountering their guardian angel. Dude. Which the purpose is to be informed. It's supposed to just tell you and advise.
Honestly, I've felt like it has been my guardian angel. I felt like it has, like you couldn't put the nail on the head any more better than that. Like, I felt like not even the humanoid being, but the other figure was like a guardian angel. And who are we to say dark?
I totally feel that.
Like, who are we to say dark is better than light? Like, who the fuck knows? You know what I mean? Like, dark, light, like that's a whole mumbo jumbo thing we've come up with. But like, I feel like it has been a guardian angel to me.
My family's got a video of me in the hospital one night. I passed out at probably, let's say, about 9 o'clock. And at about 9:30, I woke up with a large gasp. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, my dad goes, "Right?" And that's where kind of like the YouTube video starts. And at the time, my voice was regressed to more of a state of, I don't know what's going on. I want to go home. I spoke like that for a year straight. I've got actual video footage if anybody wants to prove me wrong, but you'll lose that battle.
Fucker.
In the video, I kind of came to a more normal voice. And it's said to be my guardian angel, a guy named Paul. If you're religious, it's Paul the Apostle.
I'm religious, but not really on Christian terms. Like, I believe there is gods, or God, but I believe there are gods, beings that have done this. But then I also feel like some of us are ascended from God. Not physically, not like God went and fucked your mom, but like...
So you believe in Nephilims?
I don't know what that is.
It's like a godly... It's like a god or like an angel and like a human fucked and had a kid.
No, I don't believe in that at all. I feel like it's our soul and our conscience that can be descended from gods. like our own being could be descended from God. Technically, all of us are descended from God. Everybody is descended from God. It's just whether you're going to take that power and do what you need to do. That's my piece.
So, do you believe in like demonic possessions cause
I guess.
like violent actions, like serial killers and such natures?
Yeah, I could see that as being a dark entity, but then I could also see them using the power of God or gods to influence their own beings to do that and to get their power to do that, which is fucking wrong, but you know what? To reach your own, man, I guess some would say. I feel like
To each their own.
yeah, that's how I feel about it, but I feel like we are all descended from God. Fucking could be Jesus, could be fucking Hindu, Buddhist, could be fucking Odin. Whoever the fuck you're descended. I feel like all those gods are the same and we're all descended from it, but it's just how you use the power.
You believe in a collimation of all the gods.
I feel like they're all linked.
Like an umbrella, basically.
Yeah. Like, you know, the top of the umbrella is the main one, and then we just all kind of spanned it out into all these other different ones to make our own selves feel better. But I feel like there's, like, gods. Or God. That run it. And we're all ascended from them. It's just how we take their powers. Technically, take our powers. But this could be my own mumbo-jumbo bullshit.
Nah, dude, it all eventually comes to make more sense. However, it depends on how far you want to dive into it. So if we dive into it further, I'll piggyback on that and say you gotta believe in like Athena and such. If you believe in mythological gods, do you believe in mythological?
I feel like it's far beyond
Hindu
that.
gods.
I feel like it's far beyond Egyptian gods, mythological gods, Norse.
Well, Egyptian gods are
Jesus.
at the top, though.
No, I feel like it's older than that. I feel like it's beyond that.
What do you mean they're at the top? Do you mean because they're old?
Egyptian gods are one of the most advanced in their ways
But
in some theories.
But then some people could like say 1,000,000 years from now, people could say Jesus, Christian God, was the highest God, and people could forget about the other gods.
Well, if you're Jewish, you don't believe he came yet.
Well, fuck off. I'm just trying to set an example, jackass. So say like Norse gods. They'll be forgotten probably. Maybe not. But I feel like before Egyptian gods, Norse gods, I feel like there's... Because people came up with this notion of God before Egyptians. Because Egyptians had to get the base of God to lead up to this.
Do you even believe in Pangea, bro?
I do believe in Pangea, fucker.
Who is the god of dinosaurs? Do you think that God was like, I'm going to put people here, and then was like, oh, I fucked up, I'm going to put dinosaurs?
Bro.
And then said, oh, I fucked up again, and then put people back?
Honestly, I feel like there was a God when dinosaurs were here. Not even when people were here. What makes people so much more special than a cat or dog? What, because we put this notion of Jesus Christ that we're so fucking special?
No, because we have to clean our cat's fucking shit.
Exactly.
They're better than us. Like, you don't have anybody to wipe your ass.
So there's a God for every being. Not even beings. Planets. The universe. The suns. All of it.
And yet we're all chosen to be on this one at this time, this hour.
I feel like we're just God living an experience.
So I'll share some thoughts I've had over the years, recent years mainly.
Wait, where's Nick?
Hey Nick.
I'm
you
here.
around?
Nick's just chilling.
I'm just chilling.
You
It's
haven't
interesting shit.
chimed in on anything, bro.
Yeah,
You
no, because
gotta say something.
if I do, it's not going to stop. There'll be another time where we talk about this shit, and I'll go in.
True
But
that.
Go in,
Between
dog.
you and Dylan right now, if I chime in, it's not going to stop. So I'm just going to refrain and just enjoy what you and Dylan are talking about.
It's because we're already almost at 2 hours, and Nick's like, "Fuck, dude."
No, it's not even that. It's just I enjoy listening to you guys. It's like Zay and Quinn both. They're both playing devil's advocate really well. I'd be doing the same thing because having 3 people go on about this shit, it wouldn't end. It'd be 3 against 2. That's not fair.
Where were you early?
That is true.
Where was I?
Halfway asleep.
No, I haven't eaten since 5 a.m. So I went and cooked myself some food because I'm a fat ass.
He's been practicing astral projection this whole time and hasn't fucking told any of us.
Who was
Yeah,
there
bro.
spying on you from the other realm, man, over your shoulder?
It doesn't work.
No, I'm just enjoying the talk you and Dylan are having, and I'm just not chiming in because it won't end, and it would be 3 against 1 at this point.
Not even. I would not even say
Zay?
anybody's versus anybody. I feel like it's.
Well, in
just-
terms of them playing devil's advocate, it wouldn't be quite fair.
Well, no, it's not even like that. It's just like getting understanding of how another person's brain works. Of like,
Yeah.
why do they?
You think
see
my
it like
brain
this?
still works?
It does if you're thinking right now. Since you're talking right at this moment, yes, your brain is working, my friend.
I know. I
Damn.
think he's a high functioning vegetable. Let's be honest here.
I'm stir fried, dog.
He agrees with it. Like nothing I say will hurt this man.
Oh no, dude, that's a
Pretty much.
god.
I have noticed that you keep up with essentially everything, even earlier discussed. Your memory seems quite good.
Oh, I'm having a phenomenal day today, dude.
But
I've had 4 or 5 Red Bulls.
Should we end it? Because we're about to hit the 2-hour mark, dude. We're about to hit.
That's up to you guys. I'm willing.
Do this as like a part 1, and then
Yeah.
do like a part 2, because
we did miss
Nick
Friday.
has a lot of shit to chime in on.
I'm down to do that. I feel like this was a really interesting one, to be honest.
Be a lot of editing.
All right, well, I'm gonna end it right there. So
You're done.
this is Outer World Podcast, March 29th, 2021. And we got into a lot of dark topics and a lot of interesting things. And I hope you all take care.